to multiply monomial. Yesterday we looked at product of powers. So yesterday we learned that if you were multiplying two variables, we do what with those exponents? Add them. 6 plus 8 is 14, so it would be x to the 14th power. Today we're going to look at something called product of a power. Or product of powers. Sometimes we refer to that as a power to a power. Same thing. It is very important that you remember what we did yesterday because that's going to carry over. We're not only going to use yesterday's rule, but we're going to learn today's rule as well. Now, as you work through these problems, I want to encourage you to use your order of operations. And you guys should remember this. Really, at this point, this is about all that we're worried about. We don't have any division, addition, or subtraction yet. We're worried about parentheses, exponents, multiplication. You've got to remember this in the order in which you do these operations. It's very important that you do. Now, before I teach you this new rule, let's kind of explore what we're looking at here. Here's an example of what we're looking at. The first problem is x squared raised to the 5th power. X squared raised to the 5th power. That 5th power means we have how many x squareds? 5. We have x squared times x squared times x squared times x squared times x squared. Now, using yesterday's rule, what do we have? X to what power? 10. How did you get 10? Add the exponents. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 2 is 10. X to the 10th power. The next example is y squared to the 4th power. So that power of 4 tells me how many y squareds do I have? 4. Y squared times y squared times y squared times y squared. So use yesterday's rule. It's really y to what power? 8. 2 plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8. Now back in elementary school, you guys learned that repeated addition is the same as what? Repeated addition, like 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2 plus 2. Instead of adding those all the time, what could we do? Multiply. Okay? And look at your shortcut. Look at that. If you take 2 times 5, does that give me my exponent of 10? If we take 2 times 4, does that give me the exponent of 8? Use that shortcut. It's going to be to your advantage. Absolutely, we see some shortcuts. What if we had something like this? What would that be? Hey, what's the exponent on that y inside the parenthesis? 1. And 1 times 8 is 8. Right, let's look at these examples here. Example 1. We have a to the 5th raised to the 6th power. We call that a power to a power, or a power of a power. What is a to the 5th raised to the 6th power? A to the 30th. We could take 5 times 6, and 5 times 6 is 30. A to the 30th power. Now for that problem, there wasn't a whole lot of extra stuff to do. But starting with example 2, we're going to have to be very careful. I'm really focusing on these first 3 steps in order of operations. Okay, so on example 2, let's start with the P, parentheses. Is there anything inside the parentheses that I can take care of? I'm looking right here. Is there anything to do to simplify x squared? I don't think so. It's just x squared. So let's move on to exponent. I'm looking at expanding my box here a little bit. So now I'm looking at x squared to the 5th power. What is x squared to the 5th power? X to the 10th power. So we'll write that as x to the 10th power. And we still have x to the 7th. Let's use yesterday's rule. X to the 10th times x to the 7th is how much? 17th, x to the 17th power. You've got to go in this order. You cannot multiply before you do exponents. When you take care of our exponents first and then multiply. On example 3, okay, is there anything inside the parentheses that I need to take care of? No, I don't believe so. So let's expand. Let's go to the exponent. Does that exponent, is negative 2 included in this power? Is negative 2 included? Is it taken to the 4th power? No. Only the stuff in parentheses can be taken to the 4th power. So I'm going to take everything inside here to the 4th power. So let's bring down the negative 2. So I have a, I'm going to take that to the 4th power. B squared is going to be taken to the 4th power. Took everything to the 4th power. Everything was in that parenthesis. Now I can clean the b up a little bit. What is b squared to the 4th power? B to the 8th power. Stone, do you need some paper?
Yeah.
You get a pencil?
No, I got one.
So we have negative 2, b to the 4th, b to the a to the 4th, excuse me, b to the 8th power. Let's try some more. Let's look at the next example, number 4. Yep, that's all we can do. Look at the next example. And this example is negative 2 included when we take it to the 4th power. Yes. There's nothing to take care of inside the parentheses, so let's move to exponents. Let's take everything in the parentheses to the 4th power. So the first thing that we're going to need to take to the 4th power is negative 2. So on your calculator, type in parentheses, negative 2, close parentheses, caret 4. Clear out my screen. Parentheses, negative 2, close parentheses, caret, that's that up and down arrow right above the division sign, 4. I think your calculator actually puts a caret symbol in there, the up arrow. Are you having trouble reading it? Negative 2 to the 4th power is 16. So we have 16, a to the 4th. Well, what is b squared to the 4th power? B to the 8th. At this point, there's nothing else, no other variables to combine, so that is our answer. If you can try to do one rule at a time, it's going to make it a lot easier and you're going to avoid silly mistakes. It's when you guys try to do it in your head. You get too fast, only that's when the mistakes start happening. Look at example 5. In example 5, start with parentheses. Is there anything to do to the first parenthesis? Not inside. Okay, let's go to the second parenthesis. Is there anything inside the second parenthesis? No, but we do have an exponent, don't we? So let's jump to exponents. I'm going to worry about that here. And only that x squared is being taken to the 5th power. So what is x squared to the 5th power? X to the 10th. 2 times 5 is 10. I'm just going to bring down bring down the first parenthesis. Is there anything else I can do to simplify? There is. The x's. Do you see that I've still got two x's in my problem? Okay. We're not adding, so don't worry about like terms. We're multiplying. You can multiply these in really in any order. So what exponent was on that x there if there's nothing? 1. So what can we do to those exponents? We're multiplying. What can we do to those exponents? Add them. So 1 plus 10 is 11 x's. So x to the 11th power, y, z. Example 6, we're starting to get a little more complicated. We've got several things going on here. Give me a second to copy down number 6. Is there anything inside the first parenthesis to take care of? Inside the parenthesis? No. What about the second parenthesis? Anything inside to take care of? No. Let's go to exponents. For both parentheses, I think we can cube everything in the first parenthesis and then square everything in the second parenthesis. Let's start by cubing everything in the first parenthesis. We have -2 cubed, x cubed, y cubed. In the second parenthesis, we can square everything. So we have -2 squared. We have x squared squared. We have y to the 5th squared. So let's clean this up. What is -2 to the 3rd power? Parentheses, -2, caret 3, -8. -2 to the 3rd power is -8. X cubed, y cubed. Next we have -2 squared. You can type that again into your calculator. -2 times -2. +4. We have x squared squared. What do we do with a power and raising it to another power? X to the 4th. Y to the power to a power, we multiply. Y to the 10th power. Is there anything else that we can do to simplify? Yeah. We have coefficients, right? What is -8 times +4? -32. We have x cubed times x to the 4th. What could we do to those exponents? Add them. So we have x to the 7th. Y to what power? Y cubed is y to the 10. Is y to the 13. Is there anything inside the first parenthesis that we might need to do to simplify? Inside the first parenthesis, anything? Second parenthesis? Third parenthesis? We do have an exponent though, don't we? So let's take care of that. I'm going to cube everything in that second or that first parenthesis. And I'll bring the others down. So the first thing we'll do is take 2 to the 3rd power. 2 times 2 times 2, or 2 raised to the 3rd power is how much? 2 to the 3rd power. 8. A to the 3rd, b to the 3rd. Next, let's go to our coefficients. We can multiply 8 times -4 times 5. So on our calculator, type in 8 times -4 times 5. -160. We can multiply our variables. That means we'll add the exponents. So a cubed times a squared is a to the 5th power. We multiply coefficients, but we add the exponents. B cubed times b squared is b to the 5th power. We add those exponents. So -160, a to the 5th power, b to the 5th power. If you try to do exactly one thing at a time, it's not so bad. Don't try to do it all at once and it gets confusing. Okay, look at number 8. Now this parenthesis really should include the 4 also. Parenthesis doesn't have anything to do to it, but the second parenthesis we can square everything. Just break down the first parenthesis. Now in the second parenthesis, I'm going to square everything. So when we square 1/4, you're going to square the 1. 1 squared is 1. And 4 squared is 4 times 4? 16. So we have 1/16. We have m cubed squared. We have n to the 5th squared. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of some of these power to powers here. So 1/16. M cubed squared, what do we do with those exponents when we have a power and raising it to another power? Multiply. 3 times 2 is 6. N to what power? 5 times 2 is 10. Let's keep going. We can multiply our coefficients next. 16 times 1/16. Well, think of that as 16 over 1. 16 times 1 is 16. 1 times 16 is 16. 16 divided by 16 is 1. We have m times m to the 6th. That's m to the 7th. N to what power? N squared times n to the 10th, n to the 12th. And there's really not a need for that 1 there, so m to the 7th, n to the 12th. Alright, I think I'm going to stop here for today. Guys, it's very important that you remember your rules. If you are multiplying two variables, just a reminder, if you're multiplying two variables, x to the 4 times x to the 5th, that's when we add the exponents. But if we have a power and we're taking it to a power, we multiply 2 times 4. It's very important that you remember when you add and when you multiply, because eventually we're going to be using division and we'll subtract the exponents. So you've got to be able to keep these straight. Okay. Alright, today's assignment is going to be on the back side of the worksheet that you just turned in to me. I'm going to go ahead and input those grades to the grade book real quick, and as I get them in, I'll call you up to give you your worksheet back, so that you guys can get started. Tomorrow you will need your textbook, so please bring your textbook with you tomorrow.